It's Missladypetal here. I'm doing this video in a question and answer format because there are so many questions going around that I'm being asked in each of the letter journal clubs I'm a part of at the moment, and I thought that I would just do a straight question and answer video to answer all the questions in one place that I've been asked by lots of different people. So this can be used as a reference for further on, and the links can be put in the Krazy Island family group, or anybody else who wants to do letter journaling as a really good handy reference guide for some basic rules to make it all work really smoothly and to have really good feelings around how it all works. Okay, so question number 1. Oh, that's the wrong sheet for my questions. Hang on. Here's my question sheet. Right. Question number 1. What sort of paper? Okay. I use a thick grade photocopy paper. It's not your cheap photocopy paper. It's much thicker than that. But if you use any other kind of paper, you are going to immediately increase the weight of your journal. Now in Australia, if we keep our journals, the total package including the envelope and any goodies we put in that package, to under 50 grams, which is 1.763 ounces for everyone in the States. So if we keep our letter journal in total to 1.763 ounces or less, it only costs us $2.60 to post anywhere in the world. If we go even a couple of percentages or couple of grams in our case more, I posted one at 54 grams on Monday and it cost me $6.45. So that's triple the cost for the sake of 4 grams over 50 grams. So the way that our postage works in Australia is, if there are times where I've done a journal and the journal itself comes to just under 50 grams and I still want to send some goodies, I'd rather send the goodies in a separate envelope that's under 50 grams. It still costs me a third less to do it that way than it does to include them in the original package. So for people in Australia, be mindful, it's cheaper to send 250 gram packages to the States or to anywhere else in the world than it is to send one that's just 51 grams or 52 grams. It'll cost you triple. So that's a basic guide. Question number 2. How many pages should I put in my journal? Okay, so I have a journal here that has 4 pieces of copy paper. So 4, right, folded in half, and then I guillotined it. Including the covers, that gives you 16 pages front and back to work with. I think that's plenty. You might want to put 1 page less, and then you've got 12 pages to work with. I find that the 16 pages works quite well, but if you're, for say, using a thicker grade paper, you might want to put less pages in to try and keep the weight down. How heavy? Okay, so I've already mentioned this, but how heavy? Not very heavy at all. For consideration for, you don't know what other countries' postage costs are going to be. I've just told you what it is in Australia. I don't know what it is in the States or Europe or, you know, Asia. So I don't know whether, you know, I just think the rule of thumb is to try and keep it within a standard envelope so it doesn't attract parcel post charges. And the other thing is keep it as light as possible so that you might be able to afford the postage, but you might be art journaling or letter journaling with someone in the group that's a little bit pressed for money, and so we don't want to unnecessarily burden people with high postage costs all around the world. Okay, what are the dimensions? So I often talk about a standard DL size envelope. To do your paper journal, I've actually told Gina today that the dimensions were 8 5/8 and 4 1/4, but that's actually the envelope size. The actual journal size to go in that envelope needs to be 4 inches across, and it needs to be 8 2/8 inches long. Okay, so that's roughly a standard letter envelope. And I've received standard letter envelopes from the States, so that are this size. So it shouldn't be a problem. For those in Australia, let me just get up the dimensions for this in centimetres. So it's 21 centimetres long and 10 centimetres wide. Okay, 21 long this way and 10 wide. What products can I use? All right, so this is, I get lots of questions about how many products, what kind of products can we use, bearing in mind we don't want to make it too heavy, we don't want to load it up. So things that I've done in letter journals that really haven't added heaps of weight is I've collaged paper onto the front and the back covers. I've posted on some of my mono prints to the front and back covers to strengthen them, so you've essentially got double the thickness. I've done rub-ons, stickers, I've gessoed, I've painted, I've glued pages in with watercolour paintings, I've used all different kinds of markers, I've used fibres, and I've also used oil pastels, watercolours, pit markers, paint pens, acrylic paints. I have not used moulding paste, anything that gives dimension. I've used inks, alcohol inks, sprays, normal stamp pads. I've used ephemera, but I've used nothing that's lumpy and bumpy, so I haven't put bling, pearls. I haven't used double-sided mounting foam for anything. I have not used bulky tags or labels that stand up. What else haven't I used? I haven't used any buttons or anything like that. So if you want that, the best way to do it is when you get your journal back and it's pretty much finished, and you might want to add some finishing touches to it, and you might want to do some modelling paste or anything else. At the very last point, when you don't have to post it off to anyone, that's when you do all that. Okay, so you can add your lumpy bumpies in, but wait until it comes back to you and it's finished by everyone. How often do I send the journal? Generally about once a month. So for people in Australia, we are the slow leg. So I find that it takes between 2 and 2.5 weeks for letter journals to arrive from the Netherlands, from Europe and from the States to me. I find that it's a good 3+ weeks for my journals to arrive in the States or Europe once I sent them. So that means for people in Australia, we only have 1 week to get everything that we want to do in that journal, so it becomes a priority in that 1 week. I mean, I just went away for a retreat on the weekend and I did 3, because 3 dumped in my lap all at once in the days before I went, and that was a perfect opportunity to get them all done. And I did. I managed to get them all done, and they're all posted on Monday, because I know it's going to take 3 weeks before any of the recipients get them, and then depending on where they're sending them, they may only have 1 or 2 weeks to be able to work on that journal before they have to send it off. And if they've got other journals going at the same time or other projects, or they work a lot of hours, you know, that might put a bit of pressure on them. So you definitely need to think about that when you're doing this. How many pages should I decorate? So my rule of thumb, and I'm different in every journal that I do, but I generally decorate the front and the back covers, although I don't necessarily expect them to not be covered up. The only thing that I would say is that if I've written addresses on the back cover and they're in the order that people send them, please don't cover those up, because you might not be able to read who to send it to next. So that's important. Other journals I've had have had that list in the middle, like on a world map or something like that. So if that's being done, then don't cover up. My only rule in that case is don't cover up addresses and names, because you need to be able to refer back to them, obviously, when you're posting off the parcel or the envelope to the next person in the list. I always make it a point to probably leave four to 6 pages completely blank, because you never know if people want to do something from scratch. Like I'm a watercolor artist, so I often insert miniature watercolor paintings into journals, and if I've got a blank page, it's easy for me to just glue in or just loosely put in a piece of watercolor paper with my painting on it. That's in the dimensions of the journal, so I never go outside the dimensions of the journal. And I've done things like acrylic washes, tissue paper, collage, and I might leave it half done. I've drawn pretty girls and then left collage elements there and the rest of the page blank, just white, so that if somebody wants to do a background around the pretty girl or the tissue paper or whatever, they can. I've mono printed some pages. I've drawn things on other pages. I've written some sayings or verses on some pages. It's up to you what you do, but I always recommend leaving some of those backgrounds blank. Everybody has really different styles, and your style might be absolutely awesome, but you might love the other styles that the other artists in your group will contribute to your journal, and you don't want to limit anybody else in their creativity by having a page already done that they feel that they can't cover up because it's so pretty, or they cover it up and then, you know, somebody kind of might think, oh, why did they cover my work up? So the main thing is be free. Don't worry if your work gets covered up. I mean, honestly, if somebody painted over my pretty girls and then drew something else that was beautiful over the top, I wouldn't care. So it's really about being free and understanding that other people might need part of the space that you've already done to enhance it and make it look better. Or if you leave blank pages, you allow people the opportunity to work from scratch and to do something unique that you might not have seen before, or that you just fall in love with when you get it back. The last question is, do we show photos of these in their various stages? My recommendation is take a photo before and after of anything that you alter, and then don't post them straight away. You want your journals to be a surprise for the next person who receives them, because that's part of the joy of getting these. I mean, I filmed my reaction to getting one from my friend Bernice in the Netherlands, and that was really exciting, and I had the best time opening it all up. And my friend Heidi in the States has just received one of mine, and she waited until we were online and then she opened it, and you know, we heard her squeals of delight, and it was exciting. And it was a surprise, and I think the element of surprise is the thing that's most important on each leg of this. I think it's fabulous to share these right at the very end where they're finished, but they'll take a while. So if you're going to show pages, maybe private message the photo to a particular person to ask for their advice, and don't post it on the general forums in Krazy Island or on your walls, particularly if you're friends with the people in your letter group. Now that concludes all of my questions. So if you've got any further questions, you can put them in the comments at the bottom of this video, or you can have a look at my Missladypetal Creations Facebook page on Facebook, or you can post on the forum in Krazy Island family. If you're not a part of that group, then come join us. You need to be approved to get in, but I don't know of anyone they haven't approved yet, and it's a beautiful family atmosphere where we're very encouraging and not a negative word spoken, and we share about things, not just art, but about our private lives, and it truly is a family, and I've never seen anything like it. And I'm a part of quite a few forums, and this is unique, and that quality, we never want to see that change. So that concludes all my question and answers about letter videos. I'm going to go and get this posted on YouTube as soon as humanly possible, so that everybody that's got a question, I can refer them back to this video. Okay, ciao for Missladypetal.